Former President Obama just confronted Donald Trump with a major warning. Say it to my face. If you're going to go out there and talk about me or the former First Lady Michelle Obama, say it to my face. Now, former President Barack Obama made this final warning and sent this message to Donald Trump on the All the Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. It was powerful stuff. Let me show you what former President Obama said. And he posted this on his social media account. He posted the full interview, that is. But here's the portion I want to show you where he says, you notice that he likes to, that Trump says all of these things, but he doesn't say it to my face because he's a coward. These are powerful words from former President Obama. Let's play it.
I'm not even worried about it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I know.
I kind of like it.
I do worry sometimes. I've heard some of the guys talk about changes in the locker room now and how kids are, some of the younger players, instead of just talking or playing some bid whist or something, everybody just like
stuck to your phone
on the
totally
phone.
Different.
The other thing I believe in, and part of what we try to teach in our leadership training is, I believe in face to face. I believe in conversation. Mm-hmm. So if this, whoever you were talking about was in front of me, which has happened a couple of times, he don't talk like that because he knows better.
It ain't never that.
And I think there is that filter of the phone creates a situation both where people just say kind of crazy stuff that they would never say
with no consequences
to your face with no consequences.
And then former President Obama talks about how he lives rent-free in Donald Trump's head. And he said it's a little bit weird and dangerous. And Obama says, when I was in office, I was spending so much time focused on the American people. You think I even had the time to think about what a former president said or did, or to even be that petty? No, I was focused on helping the American people. Watch this, another powerful moment from the All the Smoke podcast. Let's play this clip.
Sometimes.
I mean, the thing about it is, look, you got to ask him what it is that
the obsession.
The obsession.
I know what it is.
I obviously have a room in his head,
rent free. You do everything with grace.
A suite in his head. But the thing about it is, that was always clear to me. Look, first of all, when I was president, the last thing I had time to do was worry about what
somebody said,
or what my predecessor did. Mm-hmm. They're gone. I've got work to do.
You locked in.
It's hard to describe if you're doing the job right. Mm-hmm. Every day you've got 5-10 things that are real hard, and you have to be constantly focused. The idea that I'd be worrying about
came before
somebody who came before and me trying to measure, like, what's he done today? Look, constantly worrying about that is a strange thing to me. It shows me somebody who's not focused on the American people and the job they're supposed to do.
And here's another clip right here that former President Obama posted about, I guess it definitely seems like we're in some very dark times, but we'll get through this. We've been through bad times as a country. We can persevere. Watch what he says here. Play this clip.
We always, I think, have a tendency, partly because the news projects it, right, to think that our time is uniquely discouraging or tough. If you study a little bit of history, I do think it gives you that perspective of things go up and down. History doesn't move in a straight line. And the thing you control is how you react to it, the values you've got. And there are always good people out there. Mm-hmm. There is always common ground to be found. It's up to you, how much responsibility do you have to bring that to the table? How do you show up? If you show up being helpful and setting a good example and lifting folks up, whatever your circle of influence is, right? If you're coaching and helping out in the community, even though they're not your kids, if you see it as somebody moves across the street who is an immigrant, the way folks in Minneapolis did, and said, you know what, I may not have looked at their papers, but they're my neighbor. and I see how they treat their kids. And that reminds me of, my family. And so I'm going to look out for them.
Do your part.
If you're doing that, if enough of us do that, then we'll get through this, just like we usually have.
If you know history and you know how far we come,
correct.
Where we need to be is easy to see now.
You can see it
so far already.
Well, you can see it. It's there. It's within reach.
And then he wants everybody to know that even his life after presidency, that there are things that he's missed about the presidency, like helping and being a public servant. But he also talks about spending time with his family right here and how, he needs to focus on that as well. Let's play this clip.
The presidency was over. Number one is I was in a deep deficit with my wife.
A lot of making up to do.
Time.
I had a lot of making up to do. Time, travel, fun trips, hanging out.
Family,
which was a blessing, right? And because, there were certain pressures on Michelle that even I didn't fully appreciate, being the first African-American first lady. And the double standards and how people, had perceived her. And she did such an outstanding job and was beloved, but it took, put some strain on her. Right? It took a toll. So catching up with her was really important. I didn't miss, and I have not missed, all the fuss of the presidency. I like, you walk in a room, folks all standing up and having to wear a tie every day. I don't miss that. And a lot of the ceremony and the attention. I wasn't somebody who came in looking like I just needed a lot of attention. Not partly because I'd gotten a lot, even during the campaigns, and what I did miss was the work. And I miss the camaraderie of doing hard stuff with a group of people. You're in a foxhole when you're in the White House, right? It's like every day, pressure coming, big decisions, life and death stakes. And, it's obviously different, but it's similar to sports in the sense of that feeling of you're on a common enterprise.
Pressure.
And you've got pressure and stress. And if it goes right, you bond in a way that's different. You hear guys in the military talking about that same kind of feeling with their unit, their guys. So I missed that. But the thing that I was excited about, and that's a lot of what this foundation's about and what this presidential center is about, is how do I train and help the next generation of leaders, the next Baracks or Michelles, who are everywhere. Right? Michelle's mom always used to, she'd be asked about, what'd you do to make Michelle so fantastic? And Craig and Ms. Robinson, who was one of my favorite people ever. I love my mother-in-law deeply. She just laughed and she's all like, you know what? There are a million Michelles and Craigs and Baracks. But they might just not have had just the right break, the right exposure. And she's absolutely right about that. And so the Michelle and I talked and we said, the one thing we can do well, even though we're getting kind of old, we can still inspire young people. And if we can find ways to lift up, support, inspire, shine a spotlight on the next generation of talent, get them together so they don't feel isolated. They feel like they've got a team behind them. That would be worth doing. And so that's how I've been spending a lot of my time. And, the analogy I use is like moving from player to coach. You're never going to get exactly the same highs as you do when you're on the court, right? There's a different feeling of that competition and you're taking the shot. Right? But there's a different kind of satisfaction when you feel like, you know what, I'm working with this person and they are growing and fulfilling their potential and you're helping that along. Yeah. And then you see them, do some amazing thing and turn into just remarkable leaders. And you kind of go, all right.
That means more than anything.
Yeah. And let me do some more of that.
Right.
Let me find some more, right? It's the same satisfaction you get as a parent, but you can duplicate it, right?
Right.
You don't, now that our girls are launched, it's like, well, come on, let's find some other
Who are we going to
young
point to?
people to build up.
I say win the championship all.
He also notes that the presidential center that he built, it's bigger than just a presidential library. It's like it's a community center. It's a presidential center where we can have athletics and we can have a library. We could have education facilities and we can unite the community right here and make this just an incredible experience for people. Let's watch what he says right here. More powerful words from former President Obama.
I believed was if I could use the excuse of a presidential center to build a community center, a place where kids can come in and they've got a first-class basketball facility, but also educational facilities and a Chicago Public Library. And they can see world-class art all in their neighborhoods. And this became a meeting place and a place where speakers can come in and musicians can come in because we've got a recording studio and help kids think about careers in music and in art, and have folks when they come to home court, not just to play basketball, but you start bringing in NBA executives or PTs, to come in and say, hey, even if you're not in the league, there are ways in which you can make a good living and be part of that industry. So the core for me was to create something that was a tool for the community to build itself and have some fun in the process. And, hopefully that's wasn't going to happen.
And then he reposts this from Michelle Obama, and they just show they're living their best life right now, and that they're out there every day trying to spread joy and happiness, and there's nothing that Donald Trump can do to try to bring them down. Here's what Michelle Obama posted and former President Obama reposted. So much of my story in Bronx runs through the south side of Chicago. We had so much fun going down memory lane with People magazine, sharing moments from the decade we spent together, the opening of the Obama Presidential Center, and the work we still have left to do in our next chapter. We hope you'll check out the interview. Powerful words indeed. Shout out to the folks at All the Smoke Productions and the All the Smoke podcast. Shout out to former President Obama right there and former First Lady Michelle Obama. When I watch videos like that, it brings me such a great deal of joy, and so glad he's calling out Donald Trump. Hit subscribe here. Let's get to 7 million subscribers, and thanks for watching, everybody.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.